Today was a volatile day. We actually went up, touched $38,000 in Bitcoin, then came back down and now got a daily close. And we're still above 36,500. That's a decent note. On a daily with the daily close, bulls scored. Now, if you do have a confusion, go on a weekly chart. This shows you which direction we are headed. Now, a lot of people were claiming, yeah, Bitcoin is going up, but the altcoins are not. Now, look at the entire market. This is where the total market is at this point. And you're also watching the fact that Ether has been on the move. Ether is up 10% for the day. Did you get a clue before that was coming in? The SI family sure did. We were actually on it yesterday talking about this possibility, and after like 10 hours, 12 hours, we got that huge movement in the market. So if you zoom in, this is what it actually looks like. You went towards that resistance, now you're slowly getting rejected from that level. So once you zoom out and understand that's a macro level, that's a macro setup being played out here. And each of these times when you actually had this kind of a move, that was a great run up in the altcoin market. Are you ready to join that? Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Earlier this year, when a lot of people were still giving you the idea that the Bitcoin is dropping towards 12,000, 10,000, this was something which the SI family was aware of. They were like, okay, a lot of people are saying we're going to go down. What do you think, SI? And I'm like, guys, being frank, I think this is the actual history. If you are down 50% from the 200 MA, usually you are working on the local bottom. You're going to go up. And that's exactly what happened. Now, we didn't drop one chart and say, okay, follow this. We followed it through. We gave you the idea just the next month saying, this is what's exactly happening. Watch for this. We're going to this way. A lot of people still had doubts, so we did follow it through, saying this is what we are watching, right? Most likely this is going to be happening here. It did happen. Now we went through a lot of historical patterns, right? We compared 2023 with 2012, 2013. We were doing all these studies to understand which direction the market is going and to give the edge for the SI family. 626 members are taking that benefit right now. And it's not just an easy thing to look out. Because when the market is moving, you get a lot of these assets popping. Today, before the crash came in, I told you guys, skim some of the profits, up to 25% skimming it and keeping it aside, gives you the ability to return into the market when there is a hit. When there is a 10, 20, 30% drop in different assets, you can take benefit of that. Why is that important? Because when you actually zoom in, the market shows you, yeah, it dropped, but right now it's slowly coming back. And that's just Bitcoin. Assets which are highly correlated with Ether is now running hot in the market. That means there is a lot happening. Now, for us, it's mainly about XRP. Look at the volume. We were close to 400 million a week or two back. Right now, we are at $2.4 billion. That's a lot of money coming into XRP. So if you actually go into that side of it, looking at, okay, what XRP is showing us, this is something which we all should keep in our mind. We're still on that trend. We haven't changed anything. So if you have time, if you have patience, this is what you're looking at. This weekly close is going to be critical. Agreed. But you still have a few days to give that weekly close. The entire market is still trending up. There is no way you're going to get rejected at these levels. So most likely the scenario is going to be a continuation pattern. You may actually have a micro level of correction. What would it actually look like? If you actually follow the historical pattern, you can actually put the argument like, okay, this is something we've been following from some time. We actually had all this volatility. We played out like this. What if we come back down to that level? Now, does that look scary to you guys? I would say no. That's a buy the dip opportunity if it actually comes down to this range. That for me actually looks like this. The price action is moving just like this. So after you run up like this, if you come back to this level, which is this particular range, and then bounce, that is still okay. If you take a week or two doing that consolidation and then bouncing off, it is still fine. What matters here is the sentiment in the market. If the entire crypto market is still running high, people are attracted to this market. Once they are in, they will be looking for assets with utility, the assets with long-term future, where they will allocate big money. When you look at these, you do understand, okay, Ether just broke higher. That's great for the entire market and altcoins especially. And that's like 25% in a measured move for Ether from this level. So you applaud that and you say, okay, that's like 2,300. That's a big deal for Ether, because once that comes as a reality, this is what you're looking at. Your previous levels, which used to be a support resistance zone, or it is still a support resistance zone, you will be breaking through that level. Right now, you are working that out. So once the price reaches that range, I would say there's a lot of people who would actually then look at this and say, okay, most likely this is going to be the scenario. I agree. There's no conflict. The breakout kind of gives you the idea. There is another 128% to the upside from the level of breakout. So you're talking about the all-time highs, the price discovery region. You're talking about the price going back to that range, the level of excitement which will come into the market, the level of new money which come into the market is going to be huge. But agreed, these kind of people will always be there. That is where you need to put in time, effort, and energy to understand what the market is doing. These guys were saying what? Now, remember, that's at this point, December, Jan, and it is clearly showing you if you took that advice and moved out, you missed a lot of it and you took a big hit. So from here, if you actually look back, that was 10 months of a market rallying to the upside, which you would have missed just because you listened to someone saying something which didn't make any sense. So that's one of the reasons why we back up things with research, with the actual technical analysis, which goes into that depth. Now, when we were here, we actually gave you the idea. Watch this. We are going to slowly go back. And there was a lot of chart in between following that up and giving you the macro update each and every time. So if you want to take benefit of that, SI family is open. You can look at the link in the description below if you're watching this in the YouTube. If it's in the Twitter, look at that in the bio. Now, when you actually go through this, you do understand something. Price action is repeating the recent past. Whether we agree or not, we are watching the exact same thing playing out. So it's now on our side to take something from the market, which the market is giving us. Not saying, I think this is going to happen, but saying, okay, this happened last time, and we do look almost similar to that. So if I'm plotting this and I will look at this and say, okay, there is a lot of possibility that the price action can actually be doing something like this. You broke below the trend line, you went back up. So if you look at XRP in the same sense, you would actually put the argument like, okay, we are kind of doing something similar. We had a double bottom structure here. We had another textbook double bottom pattern here. You kind of played that range. You broke to the downside, you came up. So when you came back up, there was another retest before you pumped. So for me, if you come back down to 0.6, 0.58, that range, and then start that bounce, that is still okay. That is still cool, because unless you violate the actual lows which you put in here, which is 0.48, 0.47 range, there is nothing to worry about, because at this moment, what you are looking at is this previous range of support resistance acting clearly. The price is respecting that level. You actually made a reversal signal on that range. So that for me is like, okay, that's a confirmation which the market is giving you that it wants to go up. Now, if you break to the upside, you retest and bounce. Is there anything wrong with that? I would say no. Now, for anyone who has a little bit more patience, who's looking for the macro picture, I would always say go look at least on a weekly chart. This kind of gives you a lot of understanding of what the market is doing. Because right now the market is showing you that it really wanted to get back up, and it did. Now, what's happening right now, I would say, is that when a lot of other assets are moving up, people are tempted to move out, jump in, jump out. You know, the monkey jumping from tree to tree. That is happening right now. And when Ether is up 10%, there will be a lot of whales who are thinking about, okay, that's the time I'm going to run into Ether. Fine, that's your decision to take. But you want to see the ROI structure. Once it returns back to a level like this, historically, what has happened? If that's what we are going to see here, I'm completely fine. This is what we are doing right now. I'm like, okay, that's clear that most likely this is what we are playing out. And that for me is like, okay, from here, you don't actually have a lot of time to be patient. It is literally playing in front of you. You actually want to be disciplined, however, to understand this, like, okay, this is what's happening in the market. I don't want to make some stupid decision and then come back up once the price pops. You miss that rally. You don't want to do that. That kind of hurts. Last time, we saw a lot of people doing that during this pump. And the same thing happened for people at this range. They came in and bought here. The market consolidated back down. It retested there and said, okay, I'm making this as a bottom. I'm going up. So you want to make sure you understand that short-term fluctuations in the market. You want to look at the price action and say, okay, I kind of get it. This is what the price action is doing, and I'm following that. I'm trying to take advantage of that, and I'm going to follow the price action. So always plot. Now, if TA is not your thing, it's still okay. Just go into a line chart and follow the trend. If the trend line shows you there is some more room, it's okay. Follow the macro trend line on the same horizon. On the RSI, it should give you some understanding. You do have some room to the downside. Now, if you want that help, if you want to go through a one-on-one session with me on a video call with your portfolio, discussing everything you have in mind, you can do that in the SI family here. But if you are like, okay, I'm comfortable without anything, I'm fine on myself, these are some key points you have to think, because not everyone likes to share info, but the market gives you a window of 3, 4, 5 months, historically speaking, to make this gain and to get out. So that means if you are here in this range, from there to the top, it's like a 100-day window. That's it, 3 months, 3.5 months, and the market is done. So you want to make sure you don't miss out on that. Because historically speaking, when you actually go into all of this, one thing is clear. The market gives you a lot of opportunity. This is the actual crypto market doing something historically, which it's doing. Now, if you want to go specific onto the altcoin cap to focus on XRP, we do this, right? We exclude Ether in the altcoin market and we say, okay, let's focus on this. So short term, we talked about this possibility and it kind of wicked to the downside. It did not actually reach the moving average, which we thought it would, but there was a huge volatility. Now, when do these kind of huge volatility to the upside, to the downside, it's like a double-edged sword. It comes in. When does that happen? At a critical range, either at a reversal area or a key breakout or a continuation pattern. Here, I would say this is a key area of breakout or continuation pattern because the trend is still the upside. This is your Wyckoff accumulation range. You're trying to break that through. So I would say this range is the last point of supply. That's the LPS which you're looking at. As soon as you break to the upside, that's the golden era in a lot of altcoins. Now, it can be meme coins. It can be, some BS coins which are popping through the roof. But make sure if you decide to enter into an asset, you know why you are entering. Because if not, if there is any consolidation or a drop or a wick to the downside in between, now you don't know what to do. That's insane. Don't go to that extent. The market is a huge opportunity right now. When this breaks higher, the market is showing you, yeah, I came back down. I did my accumulation. I'm going back up. The markup phase happens here. Maybe you may get a 15 to 20-day window of an accumulation here before you burst to the upside. But not all assets are the same. Some of them are already running crazy. When you come into the market and watch this, you can see some of them are starting to run crazy. And these are highly correlated with Ether. When Bitcoin was running up, most of them did not respond. But when Ether started popping, all of them are starting to get aligned. And that's where you're like, okay, I kind of get the point. These are running first and then the money moves into this segment. That positions you better in the market. And we are trying to go through almost everything possible in the SI family to keep you guys updated so that you know what's coming. Because week back when I told you, watch, there is a big possibility that the price action is going to do something like this, because historically we have seen that even though we have a divergence. Right now, if you actually go into the price action, say you enter into Bitcoin and look at what the price actually did on the daily chart, it is kind of clear. You just did the exact same thing. There was a big pop. So from 35,500 all the way up to 38,000. What did we talk about? We talked about the similar situation coming in, and it did materialize. So the market gives you some clue if you do follow the price action with the proper eyes, which you need to. And that gives you the advantage to stay awake and make profit in the market. Now, this is all learning. It's a part of a long journey. It's not going to end in this 3 months. So if you did start this journey of learning through the TA a while back, now this is kind of giving you an easy picture. But if you're starting it now, I would say take time. Learn through the market. Don't go over leveraged. Yes, you will see people making profits in, out of a lot of different trades. We went through different assets and told you guys to skim the profits at the right time. Because when we actually go through all of this, you need to understand some things are important. And one of the easy things I would say, if you are on Twitter and you're not following me, consider doing that. Because when we take profits, we post it, right? Yeah, it's a part of marketing, but you do understand if you have those assets in your trade bag, which you started as a trade, maybe that'll help you to take some profits. But those who follow me, when I buy, they know that. When I skim profits, when I sell, they know that. They kind of have an ability to follow me if they would like to. That's the decision which they take, but that's the opportunity which they have. So guys, if you actually received value for your time, smash that like button for me. That supports the growth of this channel. And if you're looking for that one-on-one session, that charts which you want for your portfolio, the assets you have, you can look at the Scientific Investor family, where 600 plus members are right now taking the benefit of it. If you have any questions, you can talk to me via Twitter or the comments in the YouTube. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.